Today's headline dealer is comedian and commentator Bobby Sauce. Bobby, are you ready?
I'm ready.
That ain't going to win you elections. Stephen A. Smith warns AOC would fail with centrists. Here he is on his show recently.
You want to ask why Stephen A. Smith felt the need to speak up at the NAB conference? Let me ask y'all this question. We supposed to leave it to Bernie Sanders and AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez? We're supposed to leave it with individuals that will tell you that it's perfectly okay to tax 70% of your money? Not that they gave out that number. I'm just speculating because of how socialistic they are in their thinking. We're supposed to say that that's okay? Y'all okay with that? You okay with going to work and making $100 and walking home with 30? You sure about that? Are you cool with it? Just tell me. Because these are the kind of questions that we have to ask ourselves. That is why I spoke up.
All right, Bobby. I mean, this is the state of the Democratic Party. That guy is one of the more credible frontrunners, like practically, for the Democratic Party at this point. And he has never really been in politics before. Your thoughts?
Well, I mean, he makes a pretty fair point in the news article that that explained this whole commentary, which is that the majority of people in this country, the majority of voters, are likely centrist or would consider themselves to be relatively in the center. And one issue may push them one way or the other. But the point that he's making about AOC is that she's considerably further left. She's a progressive, and she has all these great ideas in theory, but the result of those ideas is it's going to steal a tremendous amount of your money. So you're going to be taxed all the way to the wall, and you're not going to be able to afford all these things. So she's like an idealist, and a lot of people, when it really comes down to it, they vote with their wallet. And even though those ideals might seem great in theory and empathetic and all the rest, it's going to cost a tremendous amount of money. And she's not. The fact that any person thinks that AOC would be the right person to run the country is out of their mind, just in general. Let's just leave that on the table.
Well, I mean, he raises a fantastic point in the practical arguments you can make to the average person, and that is if everyone had to stand in line every single day after they got off work to write a check to the government out of what they made that day, the whole country would be Republican.
Yeah, and we're already taxed very high. I mean, all things considered, like wealthy people, for example, in the state of, like, for example, if you lived in New York City, you're being taxed like almost 50% as it is. So it's already very criminal how much we're being taxed, especially considering all the fraud and abuse that they've been finding. So we're already getting gassed. The fact that she would come and say that we need actually more of that, I don't think she has any idea what it would actually cost and how people would react to that.
Clearly not. Headline number 2, Episcopal Bishop says we aren't helping Afrikaners because they, quote, jumped the line.
Well, I don't think so. I think it's principled, and it was the decision that we needed to make. We think it was the moral decision. And in fact, not only is it not crazy, the reality is that we can't be ourselves as the church, as the people that Jesus has called us to, which is the most vulnerable, and take the step of resettling white Afrikaners from South Africa. We're told to care for the poor and the vulnerable, and we're going to follow that. And I don't think that's crazy. I think it's principled.
I am speechless at this positioning. They're not going to help out because they jumped the line?
Well, I may have an unpopular opinion on this, but the actual points that he made in the article in some ways are fair, and not that they jumped the line part, but what he pointed out in the article, and when he was giving whatever interview it was that they wrote it about, was that there's a lot of people, like people that worked as translators and worked for the military that have not been brought over here from other countries, that it's a shame that we haven't brought those people back. Like I'm sure people in Afghanistan and over there in general. So the fact that he's saying that they jumped the line kind of also leaves out the point where we don't know what the real threat level was of those people there. And these are also productive members of society that will objectively benefit the United States of America. But we don't know the backdoor details of how real in threat were they. And it's like if the president or the leadership of your country is literally like, go kill these people, the threat level may be more elevated there than it was in other places. And I think we have to give a little bit of credit to the president and the leadership of the country to determine which ones are the priority. I don't think that Trump was just sitting in the Oval Office and his team was like, oh, these are white people. Well, let's have them just skip the line. That's just to presume that everybody's a racist, everybody's biased, and I don't think it's really fair. I don't think it's fair to say that they just cut the line, but he does make some fair points about other people that have helped the U.S. military and helped the country that also deserve to be brought in. But the line that a lot of people would conflate this to would be people jumping over the southern border. It's like those people shouldn't be in line at all. And if they really had a credible asylum claim, then why didn't they just come to a port of entry? But all those people are in line, I think, in his theory. So it's kind of a gray one.
Well, the hypocrisy though is that the Episcopal Church just seemed totally fine with the literal border jumpers and willing to help them out and be nice Christians and provide aid. But when it comes to a story like this, we have done a lot to bring in those Afghan translators and the people who did help our U.S. military, but we also did a little bit too much. We brought in people that we didn't even vet as part of that wave and part of that logic. So, yeah, I think he's bringing in an old argument. It was a good one a few years ago. I don't think it's as relevant right now, and so that's where it becomes just mind-boggling that the Episcopal Church decides to be this political right now, but again, let's leave them to their parishioners in that case. Headline number 3. Times Square touts this statue of a 12-foot tall black woman as a stark contrast to statues of white men. And it seems that in Florence, Italy, there is a similar statue made by the same person, but this time it's of a black woman on her phone. Now, I know this is an older story. This happened like a week or two ago where everyone was talking about it, but I wanted your take on it. What does it say about the state of art and our appreciation for it?
I actually made a pretty funny video about the one that was in Italy, but here's the thing that's sad about it all is that I understand the perspective and I understand the theory behind why they would want to put a statue not of this, but similar to this. But the fact that you would put a woman that's really like not dressed to do anything other than to hang out at the house, it's like people that are lower income, they still have clothes that they go out that they would consider to be nicer than like a t-shirt. So it's like at the very least you could make the person look triumphant or maybe be in better shape, maybe be a little bit healthier appearing. Or you could pick a figure that's done something of great significance. It's like, are you going to mean to tell me that there's not one woman of color that's done something of great significance to contrast with these supposedly white men, how they're framing them up? It's like these men did great things. They're worthy of recognition and acknowledgement because they accomplished something tremendous. It's not because they're a white man. So it's like to just put a woman that's on her phone, I just think it's like it's almost embarrassing for them. So it's like the statue is supposedly to give them feeling like their inclusion, but the best you could do is just have like a woman on her phone. Have somebody doing something incredible. Have an Olympian. Have Simone Biles or something. There's got to be something, anything in the world that's better than this, because it's not just like a white dude. It's not me in gym shorts standing there on my phone. It's a guy that's done something tremendous. So it's embarrassing all around.
No, that's true, and that's a great point because it then associates black people and black women in particular, I guess, with the mundane, saying like, here, we're going to glorify that they are beautiful because or when they're mundane. I don't know. It's a bizarre point. I hope people will call it out a little bit more often. Bobby Sauce, always a pleasure to have you on. We love your account. Keep churning those out. We'll see you soon.
Thanks so much for having me.